There are days when you wake up and feel your heart is heavier than your body. Everything around you feels like invisible hands pulling you in every direction. Judgments, unspoken expectations, or fears you haven't had time to name. You want to be calm, but your mind becomes a battlefield where anything can cause you to waver. And then you ask yourself, why do so many things bother me so much? Why is one glance, one word, or even one small change enough to make me feel exhausted? More than 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosophers saw what we today have yet to realize. You are tired because you are trying to control things that are not yours to control. You suffer because you cling to things that are constantly changing. And you are exhausted because you place your heart in the hands of things that never stand still. The Stoic chooses a different way to react. They choose to let go of what is uncontrollable and only keep what belongs to them. Inner peace, internal standards, and the right to live according to their own values. Letting go is not giving up. Not being bothered is not indifference. It is how you reclaim your self-sovereignty instead of letting life spin you around as it wishes. When you learn the art of letting go and not being bothered too much, you become free. You step out of the world's noise to turn inward and hear your own whisper. You cannot control all the changes out there, but you can learn how to stand firm against them. If you are ready to find that peace again, walk with me until the end of this journey. Because right now, we will explore 7 core rules of Stoicism, principles that will help you let go of what needs to be let go, keep what needs to be kept, and walk forward with a mind that is no longer easily shaken. Rule 1. Control what's within. There is a truth that most of us are slow to realize. Most of our pain comes from trying to control things that are not ours to control. We want others to understand us, want circumstances to be more favorable, want life to treat us fairly, and want someone to behave exactly as we expect. And when things don't go our way, the mind begins to panic, as if we have just lost control of our life. But the Stoics pointed out a timeless truth. Everything out there is external. People, events, other people's emotions, the outcome of an effort, or even life's unexpected upheavals. You can influence them, but you can never truly control them. And the more you try to control them, the more vulnerable you become. The only thing you truly master is how you react. It is the perspective you choose. It is the standards you maintain. It is the attitude you confront life with. That is the inner territory that no one can invade unless you allow it. The Stoic does not ignore circumstances. They simply do not let circumstances define them. They do not chase recognition, nor do they try to bend life to their will. They steadfastly hold on to the only thing that belongs to them, the tranquility of their mind. The moment you know how to pause, take a breath, and view the situation with clearer eyes, you are reclaiming self-sovereignty. When someone says something that hurts you, you can choose to deliberate instead of immediately reacting. When something bad happens, you can choose a perspective that avoids self-blame or resentment. You cannot control what life throws your way, but you can control how you stand firm against it. And it is from that starting point that all true freedom is formed. Rule 2. Embrace the present. Ironically, we are living in the present, but rarely truly in it. The human mind has a very strange habit. While being in the present, it is constantly worrying about the future, and sometimes regrets things that have faded into the past. Between these two voids, we lose the only moment that belongs to us, this very moment. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And when you look back at your life, you will see how true that statement is. We often fear things that haven't happened and cling to things that are over. We react to imagination more than to reality. The pain of reality is often small, but the pain of imagination knows no bounds. Living fully in the present does not mean you must always be happy, always positive, or always okay. Rather, it means learning to stay with yourself in every breath, every small movement of emotion, whether it is peace or uncertainty. The present is not perfect and sometimes hard to accept, but it is the only place you can begin. Next time, whenever you feel your mind is troubled, pause for a moment and ask yourself, the thing that is worrying me right now, does it belong to the past or the future? And is it a solution for the present? The moment you can answer that question, the problem naturally shrinks and falls back into its rightful place. You are no longer pulled away by non-existent fantasies. You are returning to the real moment where life is happening. The Stoic does not seek the perfection of the moment. They seek their own presence in every moment. From there, they gain the clarity to choose their reaction, the composure to let go, and the strength not to be pulled away by things they cannot control. The present is the anchor of the mind, and when you return to this anchor, you have touched the first door leading to peace, a peace not delivered by circumstance, but one that you choose to create yourself. Rule 3. Accept change. Life changes constantly, whether we want it to or not. A once close relationship suddenly becomes distant. An opportunity that seemed certain slips away in a moment. A long-standing habit suddenly no longer fits. And no matter how much you try to hold on, life shifts in its own way. Change is the inevitable law of life, but human instinct is often fearful of change because it pulls us out of our comfort zone, forcing us to confront the unknown. But the Stoic philosophers view change with very different eyes. They see it as the natural nature of all things. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Everything in the universe is transformation. Our perception alone determines how we live." When you embrace change as an essential part of existence, you no longer have to fight the current of life. You learn to flow with it without losing yourself. You understand that some things come to teach you a lesson, some things leave to return you to the right path, and some things change to force you to grow. Think back to the times in your life when you were forced to change, leaving a familiar place, starting over after a failure, or facing loss. In those moments, you didn't just learn how to live differently. You learned how to think differently, how to see the world differently. Accepting change does not mean you are indifferent. It means you are mindful enough not to cling to what cannot be held, and strong enough to open your heart to what is coming your way. Because everything you are desperately trying to hold on to today might be exactly what is hindering your growth. The moment you accept life's motion, what is not meant for you will naturally leave, and what is meant for you will naturally find you. Rule 4. Free yourself from others' judgment. There are times when just a fleeting comment from someone is enough to make you think about it all day long. A glance, a remark, or an unpredictable silence can leave you confused, self-doubting, and even more hurt than what actually occurred. Humans are born with the desire for recognition, but when we let that recognition become what defines us, we unintentionally hand over control of our minds to others. You are like a ship standing in the middle of the sea. If you let every wave, no matter how small, determine your direction, you will never know where you truly want to go. Other people's judgments are like those waves, fleeting, changing direction, and never truly belonging to you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you seek to please others, you are no longer free. The Stoic understands that both praise and criticism are external things, outside the realm of our control. You may be happy when you are appreciated, but you cannot allow your spirit to depend on the fragile applause of others. Nor can you let a critique or an unkind look make you doubt yourself. Freeing yourself from judgment is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about holding firm to your standards and your self-worth, not allowing any aimless wind to blow you off course. You can listen to feedback, but you don't let every arbitrary comment shuffle your internal values. Recall the times you were swayed just because of someone's words. For the most part, the pain didn't come from the truth, but from how you imagined others were seeing you. The one who imprisoned you was never them. It was your dependency on their gaze. When you stop letting judgment define you, you can truly feel freedom. That is when you live by your internal standards, rather than by the noise of the outside world. Rule 5. Seek growth in adversity. There are phases in life when you look back and wonder why troubles all seem to happen at once. Work hits an obstacle, the person you put your full trust in betrays you, and an opportunity slips through your grasp. You try to stand firm, but everything around you seems to want to push you down one more time. In those moments, life no longer feels like a journey. It feels like an unannounced test. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That is one of the strongest ideas of Stoicism, because it doesn't just comfort you, but reminds you that adversity does not come to destroy you, but to remake you into a deeper version of yourself. Pain helps us re-examine what is truly important. Loss teaches us to let go of what was never ours to hold. Failure makes us realize what needs to be improved. Adversity is where character is forged, just like a sword becomes sharp when tempered by fire. And fire, no matter how hot, cannot destroy what is built to endure. It only removes what is no longer needed, revealing your most resilient core. Recall an event you once thought you couldn't overcome. Looking back, that very thing pulled you out of your comfort zone, forced you to confront the truth, and then pushed you to become the deeper person you are today. Without it, you would not have learned how to get back up, learned persistence, or learned to see the world with clearer eyes. The Stoic does not evade adversity. They regard adversity as the teacher of their growth. Because sometimes, the thing that hurts you today is precisely the thing that will make you unconquerable tomorrow. Rule 6. Silence is golden. There are times when words no longer help you clarify anything, but only make the mind more troubled. You want to explain, want to defend yourself, want to argue, want to prove your point. But the more you talk, the more you feel dragged into an endless fight. And then you realize, sometimes the thing that exhausts us is not the problem itself, but the need to respond to everything that is happening. The Stoic does not view silence as the absence of words. They see it as a form of wisdom, a spacious pause, large enough to see clearly what is worthy of their attention and what is only trying to pull them away from themselves. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence is not weakness. Silence is a deliberate choice, a way to firmly maintain your internal standards against things that are not worthy of your reaction. Recall the times you reacted too quickly, only to regret it immediately after. In that moment, silence was the space that helped you regain clarity. It is a pause that allows your mind to see the true nature of things, instead of being carried away by temporary emotions. Silence is also how you create boundaries, a soft yet firm border. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, you are showing that you are not easily controlled. When you remain silent in the face of meaningless words, you are holding your self-worth higher than the noise. And when you remain silent in the face of what is unworthy, you are choosing peace over winning an argument. Imagine your mind as a deep lake. The wind can skim across the surface and create ripples, but the depth of the lake remains calm. The words around you are like those winds. They touch the surface of your emotions, but they cannot disrupt the deepest part of you, unless you allow it. The Stoic understands that not everything requires a response, and not every moment requires words. There are times when silence itself is your strongest voice. Rule 7. Amor fati. Everyone wishes for a favorable life where everything goes exactly according to plan. But life, somehow, always finds a way to test us. Unfinished dreams, betrayal from those we trust, and unexpected losses. And when that happens, the natural human reaction is to complain, lament, or ask, "Why me?" But then, over the years, you suddenly realize the things that hurt you the most are precisely the things that have shaped you the most profoundly. Pain forces you to mature. Latros teaches you to cherish what you have. But breakdown allows you to look back at yourself. That is the spirit of Amor fati, love your fate. Because precisely those things we don't want become the fuel that helps us grow. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A blazing fire turns whatever is thrown into it into brightness and flame." You are that flame. Life throws loss at you, and you turn it into inner strength. Life throws disappointment at you. You turn it into power. Life throws pain at you, and you turn it into awakening. Amor fati does not force you to smile in the face of suffering, but teaches us to recognize the meaning hidden behind that suffering. Because the more you resist, the more you get stuck in what is past. But when you accept, you open the door to step into what awaits you ahead. Look back at your journey. Every time you thought you would collapse, you stood up in a way you yourself never expected. When you can open your heart to embrace both what comes and what leaves, you don't just love your fate, you become the master of it. And in that moment, you find a form of freedom that does not come from life, but from the moment you dare to let go of what was never yours. When you close this journey, you will notice one thing. The world outside hasn't changed at all. Judgments and obstacles can still happen unexpectedly without warning. But one thing has shifted, and that is the way you choose to stand before all of it. The 7 Stoic principles do not promise you a smooth life. They silently give you an anchor within. You know better what belongs to you and what doesn't. You view change as a natural part of life. You live less for the gaze of others, are no longer afraid when things shift, understand the power of silence, learn to look straight at the things you once wanted to avoid, and accept that every piece, whether good or bad, has its place in the journey of growth. These principles do not make life less difficult, but they will help you walk lighter in your own life. If during this journey there was something that made you pause for a moment, a phrase that touched your emotions, a thought that made you reflect, share it in the comments section as a reminder for yourself when you return. And if you wish to continue accompanying me on the following deep journeys, subscribe to the channel to help spread the Stoic spirit every day. There will come a time when you realize peace is not something you stumble upon by chance, but a state you build every day, from the things you dare to let go and the values you choose to keep in your heart.